One of my biggest complaints with Mario Kart 8 is how stupid safe first place felt. The second someone is in first, no one is hitting them. This is primarily due to the fact that most items in Mario Kart 8 were neutered to death. Stars were criminally useless, and the blue shell rate was far too low to even matter. The only times racers were getting hit is when they were fighting each other for first place, while the player in first place has strayed from the pack and void of all the chaos. Third place is far more likely to hit the person in second than the person in second is to hitting the player in first. I have lost count of how many times I have cruised in first for so long while playing with my siblings. It felt like I was playing time trials. That's how often I was getting hit. Case in point, first place was far too safe in Mario Kart 8, and I think the devs forgot that the battle for first is meant to be an all-out war. That's what Mario Kart was built on. I feel like people tend to forget that. People like John Sex.
As I'm sure you're all aware, Mario Kart World's Grand Prix has intermission tracks in between each course where you drive across the game's open world to the next destination. And while there's some variance, these tend to mostly be wide straightaways with very little in the way of interesting track design.
Let's back up that claim by showing one of the most visually appealing tracks. Also, track design? What constitutes as good track design exactly? Lots of tracks in Mario Kart history aren't exactly groundbreaking by design. A lot of them are circles or squares, mostly sugar-coated in cool environments and world building. Calamari Desert is a fucking oval. Cheeseland is nothing to write home about. Distort a square in Photoshop and you have Sky Garden. 3 of the tracks in Double Dash are ovals, possibly more. People don't remember tracks based on their layout, they remember the desert train level, the Sky Beanstalk track, and the 7-lap baby park. Rarely do you get exceptions, like shooting out of a cannon and driving down the track like Waluigi Pinball or DK Mountain. Few tracks are shaped like Mario characters, like Yoshi's Circuit or Sunset Wilds, which is shaped like a piranha plant. That also happens to transition the time of day each lap. Can we all agree that Sunset Wilds is one of the best tracks ever made? How dare they remove all of its charm in Mario Kart 8? Half of the charm of Mario Kart tracks is its environment and aesthetics. You can't show me a beautiful looking forest highway with roaming dinosaurs and tell me that the track sucks because of its layout.
Why is it that when I race on Toad Factory, what I'm actually doing is driving along the intersection to Toad Factory from somewhere else, doing 1 lap, then fucking off elsewhere? It's completely nonsensical.
Remember this for later.
The route from Cooper Beach to Peach Stadium is a straight line. The minimap looks like a fucking pregnancy test. Why is there more focus on the straightaway interludes than the actual courses?
Yes, as opposed to an oval or a square. It doesn't actually matter what's going on in the actual track itself, but rather how many turns you get to make. That's what constitutes as good track design. Wario Stadium is a god tier track because you get to turn 21 times. It's not hindered by the fact that you can cheese another racer off the last jump, making it one of the most infamous Mario Kart tracks. Why would anybody want to drive across fucking water or to glide under the Golden Gate Bridge when they can instead drive around repetitive dirt turns with Wario's face plastered everywhere and get zapped off the final jump, costing them 20 seconds?
God forbid you get hit by a blue shell, you might as well put the controller down and call your grandparents at that point.
Oh no! You're playing Mario Kart!
Occasionally, the random selection will give you the option to pick a 3-lap race, if the course is far away enough from where you're currently milling around on the map. You can also pick random, which always gives you 3-lap races no matter what.
So, problem solved? Not that it was ever a problem to begin with. These intersections don't even look half bad. The road to Bowser's Castle actually looks really sick. Also, there's your option right there! Giving me this 1-lap track crap when it was fucking optional the whole time.
The larger issue I have with Mario Kart World is just the gameplay itself. Oh man, what is going on here?
Welcome to Mario Kart!
Why is this game a bagger's wet dream? Any nuance the driving had in 8 seems to have been toned down in favour of just absolutely juicing the items. I have never played a Mario Kart game where they feel this goddamn overpowered, not even Wii. It feels like every single race is decided by which of the 12th to 8th place dregs got the best pull on lap 3, making the entire rest of the race meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
That's been a staple in Mario Kart since its inception. The only exception is Mario Kart 8. Do you know how boring that game was, constantly driving in first place, never getting hit by anything? It doesn't matter how quote-unquote complex the tracks were, I didn't boot up Mario Kart to play Forza Horizon 5.
People big up the giant mushroom cuts you can do here as a reason why these aren't god-awful to drive on.
Alternate paths and shortcuts isn't good track design, apparently. What's good track design, then? Driving on the road obeying traffic laws?
But that kind of falls flat when being in first place during these means jack shit anyway. In fact, it seems optimal to instead hang back around 12th so you can get the best items for the final lap.
You mean you can't cruise in first place, never getting hit by anything?
Check out this run of mine on Sky High Sunday. Approaching the end of the intermission, I'm in 16th place. I managed to roll triple on gold mushroom, one of the best possible pulls. After using the triple mushrooms to put into a more relevant position, I managed to pull a mega mushroom, which combined with my gold is one of, if not the strongest combo in the game right now. After popping my gold and mega, I've more or less teleported into second place where I get another incredible pull, a mushroom, allowing me to overtake Cooper here, taking the win.
Now I ask you this. At what point during any of this did I display a modicum of skill?
Skill? Skill? Who plays Mario Kart for skill? You boost with mushrooms, throw blue shells, and zap your rivals with lightning. Why the fuck are you playing Mario Kart? Do you normally play with items off? The game is a casual party game first. Same principle applies to Smash Bros. And I made an entire video complaining about that game's meta. At least the other half of Smash Bros. That's not a party game, is a fighting game, where something is always happening, even if it's unbalanced. Better than waiting for the person in first to finish the race. I wasn't aware Mario Kart had a competitive community. Hey, you want to play Mario Kart World? No items, Fox only, Final Destination?
Not that it would even matter because front-running is a complete meme in this game. One blue shell is enough to knock you back about 11 places.
You're mad that the blue shell functions the way it's supposed to?
Check out this Rainbow Road run. I've been front-running for over a minute at this point. In 8, that probably would have been a checkmate. But the pack isn't far off, because legitimately making space between yourself and everyone else is for some reason incredibly hard in this game. I even managed to tank the blue, but then I'm defenseless and one red shell knocks my ass off the track. And then another, and then I get crushed. Boom. 17th place.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
I can't stress it enough. This game's entire core seems to revolve around mid-pack RNG item wanking, instead of actual skillful driving.
Again, Mario Kart was built on item RNG rubber banding. You want a skill-based racing game? Just play Forza Horizon 5 or something. You would save $20 in the process. It's okay to want more from a game, but you have to recognize when it was designed for a different purpose than your own personal preference.
Getting Mario Karted has always existed, but most of the time a good player would still win because skill triumphed over RNG.
You know what's funny? How he brings up that RNG is a staple of Mario Kart, and then goes right back to the skill thing again. There is no skill. The second you have any form of RNG that can't be manipulated by the player, skill is out of the equation. Of course, your example is the one exception to the rule. Mario Kart 8 has the most garbage rubber banding in Mario Kart history. The second a player gets a lead, they are more likely to stay in the lead the entire rest of the race than actually getting hit by an item. What's the point of trying if you can't win? And what's the point of winning when there's no risk?
In 8 it was as simple as driving the track better than your opponents.
In Forza Horizon 5 it was simple as driving the track better than your opponents.
I get that every Mario Kart feels different to a certain extent, but skills were at least transferable between entries.
I am not going to repeat myself.
Dude, most rail and wall shortcuts are slower than just going down the less interesting main pathways.
Okay, fair. Shortcuts should be more rewarding than the normal path. That's not RNG or a skill issue, that's just logic. Hopefully this gets patched. Though, I seem to recall that alternate paths and shortcuts don't classify as good track design.
People big up the giant mushroom cuts you can do here as a reason why these aren't god-awful to drive on.
Alternate paths and shortcuts isn't good track design, apparently. What's good track design, then? Driving on the road obeying traffic laws? But now, here we are, and you're upset that the game is forcing you to drive the normal route. I thought you wanted to do nothing but drive on the road and do nothing but turn.
When the pack is as intimate as it is in this game, that's a good way to lose a valuable position. Again, in 8 Deluxe,
Oh shit, here we go again.
Now to be clear, I don't want to make a judgment call on the game overall. Not everything has been figured out, meta could develop, yada yada yada. But dude, this isn't a fighting game.